If your peach, plum, or cherry tree only fruits once a year and then just sits there doing nothing for months, I promise you it's not the variety, it's not your climate, and it's not bad luck. It's one missing habit that almost every backyard grower skips. And today, I'm going to show you the exact 1 cup a week trick that commercial orchards have used for decades to keep their trees setting fruit again and again instead of stopping after a single flush. Before we get into it, if you're serious about growing peaches, plums, and cherries the way real orchardists do, not the watered-down internet advice, but actual field-tested practical techniques that get you baskets of fruit instead of a handful of shriveled ones, then do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button right now, because every single week I'm putting out videos exactly like this one, built from real orchard experience, not guesswork. It costs you nothing. It takes 2 seconds, and it means you'll never miss the tips that actually move the needle on your harvest. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly why your stone fruit trees stop fruiting after their first big push, the real biological reason behind it, and then I'm going to hand you the exact weekly routine, literally 1 cup once a week, that professional growers use to keep their trees flowering, setting, and ripening fruit in waves instead of just once and done. By the end of this video, you'll know precisely what to mix, when to apply it, and how to read your tree so you never have to guess again. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your orchard right now, because I guarantee you a huge number of people watching this have a tree that blooms beautifully in spring, sets a decent first round of fruit, and then just shuts down. No second flush, no late season surprises, nothing. And the frustrating part is that the tree looks healthy. The leaves are green, it's not wilting, it's not obviously sick, it just stops producing. This is one of the most common complaints I hear from backyard growers, and honestly, I made this exact mistake myself for the first few years I was growing peaches. You plant the tree, you water it, maybe you throw down a bag of general fertilizer once in spring and once in fall, and you assume that's enough, because that's what the nursery tag told you to do. But here's the truth nobody tells you. A nursery tag is written for survival, not for maximum, repeated fruiting. Survival and heavy, continuous production are 2 completely different goals, and they require 2 completely different feeding strategies. Most home growers are feeding their trees just enough to stay alive and push out 1 round of blossoms. But they're not feeding them in a way that supports the tree building new fruiting wood and setting a second or even third wave of flowers later in the season. That's the mistake. You're not underfeeding to the point of starvation. You're underfeeding to the point of complacency, and the tree responds exactly the way you'd expect. It does the bare minimum. Another huge mistake I see constantly is growers feeding their trees in big, infrequent doses. They'll dump a heavy application of fertilizer once every couple of months, thinking bigger doses less often is more efficient. It's not. Stone fruit trees, peaches, plums, cherries, all of them, don't actually want a huge slug of nutrients all at once. They want a steady, small, consistent supply they can use continuously, especially during the active growing and fruiting window. Think about it like this. If you ate 1 massive meal every 2 weeks, your body would store some of it as fat and the rest would just be wasted, but you'd still feel weak and low energy most days in between. A tree behaves in a very similar way with nutrients. A big dose gets partially absorbed, a good chunk leaches away with irrigation or rain, and in between those big feedings, the tree is essentially running on empty, which is exactly when it decides to stop pushing new blossoms and just focus on ripening whatever fruit it already has. That's the real practical reason why so many trees just stop after their first round. Now let's get into the actual science behind this, and I promise I'll keep this simple, because you don't need a horticulture degree to understand it. You just need to understand what your tree is doing internally. When a peach, plum, or cherry tree sets fruit, that fruit becomes what's called a nutrient sink. Basically, the developing fruit pulls sugars, calcium, potassium, and other minerals away from the rest of the tree to fuel its own growth. This is completely normal. It's how fruit grows. But here's the part that trips people up. While the tree is pouring resources into ripening that first round of fruit, it also needs a separate, ongoing supply of nutrients, particularly potassium, calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals, to simultaneously build new flower buds for the next round. If the tree doesn't have enough of these nutrients available on a continuous basis, it makes a survival decision. It prioritizes finishing the fruit it already has instead of investing energy into new blossom production, because from the tree's perspective, finishing what it started is safer than gambling on a second round it might not have the resources to support. This is why you'll see a tree flower heavily once, fruit once, and then go quiet. It's not broken, it's just conserving. The hormone signals inside the tree, especially the balance between nitrogen-driven vegetative growth and potassium-driven flowering and fruiting, get thrown off when nutrients arrive in irregular feast or famine cycles. Potassium especially is the mineral most directly tied to flower bud initiation and fruit quality, and it's also one of the nutrients that gets used up fastest during fruit development. Magnesium plays a huge supporting role too, because it's the core mineral in chlorophyll, meaning without enough of it, the leaves can't photosynthesize efficiently enough to generate the sugars the tree needs to keep pushing new growth. So when your tree stops fruiting after one flush, what you're actually looking at is a magnesium and potassium supply problem, disguised as the tree is just done for the season. So how do real, experienced growers fix this? This is where the 1 cup a week method comes in, and I want to walk you through it step by step so you can start doing this exactly the way commercial and market growers do it, just scaled down for a backyard tree. Step 1 is building your weekly mix. What you want is a simple, consistent blend that gives your tree steady access to potassium, magnesium, and calcium without overwhelming it with nitrogen, because too much nitrogen actually pushes leafy growth at the expense of flowering, which is the opposite of what we want here. A reliable base mix that professional growers rely on is 1 cup total per mature tree, made up of roughly 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt for magnesium, 2 tablespoons of wood ash for potassium and calcium, and the rest filled out with a good finished compost or aged manure to buffer it and add trace minerals and organic matter. For younger trees, under 3 years old, you cut this down to about a quarter of that amount, because young trees have smaller root zones and can be shocked by too much mineral input too quickly. Step 2 is timing. This is where most people get it wrong, even if they're using the right mix. You do not want to dump this all at once. The entire point is steady, continuous supply, so you're applying roughly 1 cup once a week, starting about 3 to 4 weeks before your expected bloom time and continuing all the way through active fruit development until about 2 to 3 weeks before your final harvest. Stopping too early is one of the most common errors, because growers see the first fruit forming and assume the job is done, when really that's exactly the window where the tree needs the most support to start building the next round of flower buds. Step 3 is application method, and this matters more than people think. You don't just throw the mix on top of the soil, right against the trunk. You want to apply it in a ring, starting about 6 inches away from the trunk and extending out to just past the drip line, which is the outer edge of the canopy, because that's where the active feeder roots are concentrated, not directly under the trunk. Lightly work it into the top 1 or 2 inches of soil, or simply water it in thoroughly right after application so it starts moving down into the root zone instead of sitting on the surface and evaporating or blowing away. Step 4 is watching your tree's response and adjusting. A tree that's responding well to this feeding schedule will show noticeably darker green leaves within 2 to 3 weeks, tighter and more compact new growth instead of long leggy shoots, and most importantly, you'll start noticing secondary bud clusters forming along the branches even while the first round of fruit is still ripening. That secondary bud formation is your proof that the method is working, because that's literally the tree building its next wave of production instead of shutting down. Step 5, and this one gets skipped constantly, is combining this weekly mineral feeding with proper deficit watering during fruit ripening. I know that sounds contradictory, giving the tree consistent nutrients but slightly less water right as fruit is finishing up. But here's why growers do it. Too much water right before harvest dilutes sugar concentration and can actually trigger the tree to push new vegetative growth instead of new flower buds, competing for the same resources. So in that final stretch before you pick your first round of fruit, you keep the 1-cup mineral feeding completely consistent, but you ease off watering slightly, just enough that the soil dries a bit between waterings instead of staying constantly saturated. This subtle stress actually signals the tree to prioritize reproductive growth, meaning more flowers, over vegetative growth, meaning more leaves and branches. Now let me walk you through what this actually looks like out here in the orchard, because I want you to be able to recognize this on your own tree, not just take my word for it. Picture a mature peach tree, maybe 5 or 6 years old, right after its first flush of fruit has set. If you walk up to a healthy, well-fed tree at this stage and look closely at the branches just behind where the current fruit is forming, on a tree that's being fed properly, you'll actually see small, tight, slightly swollen buds starting to form along the wood. They're easy to miss if you're not looking for them because they're subtle, almost like tiny green knots pressed close against the branch. That's the tree already investing in its next round before it's even finished the first one. Compare that to a tree that's been fed once or twice a season with a big dose and nothing in between. The branches past the current fruit look bare, smooth, almost dormant, because the tree simply doesn't have the resource security to gamble on building anything new yet. If you scratch the surface soil under a properly fed tree, you'll also typically notice it holds moisture a bit more evenly and doesn't crust over as hard, because the organic matter in that weekly compost addition is slowly improving the soil structure over the season, which on its own makes every future feeding more effective because the roots can access nutrients more easily. I want you to pay attention to leaf color too, because it's one of the fastest, easiest field diagnostics you have. Leaves on a magnesium-deficient tree, which is incredibly common in home orchards because magnesium is one of the first nutrients to become depleted under irregular feeding, will often show yellowing between the veins while the veins themselves stay green. That's called interveinal chlorosis, and it usually shows up first on the older, lower leaves before spreading upward. If you're seeing that pattern right now on your tree, that's a very strong, very specific signal that this 1-cup weekly method with its Epsom salt component is going to make a visible difference within just a few weeks. Now, I want you to comment below and tell me exactly which of your trees this is happening to. Is it your peach, your plum, or your cherry that stops fruiting after that first round? Just type the word that matches your tree, whether that's peach, plum, or cherry, because I genuinely read through these, and it helps me know exactly what to cover in future videos, and it also helps everyone else scrolling through the comments realize they're not the only one dealing with this. Now, here's the golden tip, and this is the part most growers, even ones who've been doing this for years, never figure out on their own. Everything I just walked you through about the weekly 1-cup mix works great, but there's a timing trick that takes it from good to exceptional, and it has to do with when during the week you apply it relative to your watering schedule. Most people either mix everything together at once or apply the dry mix and water immediately after. What experienced commercial growers actually do is separate those two actions by about 24 hours. You apply your 1 cup of mineral mix to the soil in that ring around the drip line, and then you deliberately wait a full day before doing your next watering. The reason this matters is that this waiting period allows the wood ash component, which is naturally alkaline, to interact with the soil surface and begin breaking down slightly before it gets diluted and pushed downward by water. This slight delay actually increases how available the potassium becomes to the root system compared to watering it in immediately, because immediate heavy watering can wash a portion of that potassium past the active root zone before the soil chemistry has a chance to start releasing it properly. It's a small adjustment, it costs you nothing extra, but growers who've compared side by side consistently report noticeably better bud response when they build in that 24-hour gap instead of watering everything in on the same day. This single tweak is honestly the difference between a tree that responds okay to this method and a tree that responds dramatically, and almost nobody talks about it because it seems too minor to matter. But in orchard work, these small timing details are exactly what separate an average harvest from an exceptional one. Before we wrap up, let's go through the common mistakes I see people make with this method, because I'd rather you avoid them entirely than learn them the hard way like I did. The first mistake is inconsistency, starting the weekly routine, keeping it up for 2 or 3 weeks, and then forgetting about it or getting busy and skipping a few weeks. This method depends entirely on steady, uninterrupted supply, so gaps defeat the whole purpose and put you right back into that feast or famine cycle we talked about earlier. The second mistake is overdoing the quantity because people assume more must be better. Piling on extra Epsom salt or extra wood ash doesn't accelerate results. It actually risks salt buildup in the soil and can burn tender feeder roots, especially in container-grown trees or trees in sandy soil that doesn't flush excess minerals away as easily. Stick to the 1 cup measurement for mature trees and resist the urge to add more. The third mistake is applying the mix directly against the trunk instead of out at the drip line, which means the tree's actual feeder roots never even encounter most of what you're applying, so you end up thinking the method isn't working when really it just never reached the roots that needed it. The fourth mistake is stopping the feeding schedule the moment you see the first fruit set, when really that's the critical window to keep going, because that's precisely when the tree is deciding whether to invest in a second flush or shut down for the season. And the fifth mistake, which is subtle but important, is ignoring your soil's existing pH and mineral baseline. If your soil already runs alkaline, going heavy on wood ash without balancing it can push your pH too high over time and actually lock out other nutrients like iron. So if you're in an area with naturally alkaline soil, cut the wood ash portion of your 1 cup mix in half and make up the difference with extra compost instead. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be this: your peach, plum, and cherry trees are not naturally limited to 1 round of fruit per season. That limitation comes from how they're being fed, not from what species they are. Give them steady, weekly, small-dose access to the minerals they actually need to keep building new flower buds while finishing off the current fruit, and you will genuinely be amazed at how much more productive these trees become, sometimes pushing a second flush you never thought was possible in your climate. This is exactly the kind of practical, field-tested change that turns a tree from a once-a-year novelty into a real, reliable source of fruit for your household for months at a time, and it costs you almost nothing to implement starting this week. If this video helped you understand your trees a little better, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next, because I've got years of orchard experience I'm working through here, one practical video at a time, and I promise you, it's the kind of information that actually changes what ends up in your basket at harvest. In the next video, I'm going to break down exactly how to read your peach tree's branches to predict next year's harvest size months in advance, so you know exactly what to expect before bloom even starts. You're not going to want to miss that one, so make sure you're subscribed and I'll see you in the next video.